You're making good money. You handle all your responsibilities. So why does your bank account feels like it's in a constant state of chaos? If you've ever stared at your balance at the end of the month, wondering, where did all my money go? Trust me, you are not alone. That feeling of working so hard but still being unprepared for the future is a silent stress that many of us carry every day. Hi, I'm Teresa, and as a certified financial coach, a certified YNAB coach, and a motivational financial speaker, I've seen one thing over and over. For way too long, money talk for women has been wrapped up in shame, judgment, or just total confusion. We are often taught to be perfect caretakers, employees, and partners. But when it's time to be the confident CEO and CFO of our own lives, it feels like we've been left without a playbook. The truth is, you can be brilliant and successful and still have money leaks quietly undermining your financial security. This isn't about being irresponsible. It's about not having a strategy. In this video, we're pulling back the curtain and the 5 quiet mistakes that are the real reason you feel so financially scattered. And these aren't about buying too many lattes. These are the structural gaps that keep smart women like you from building real, lasting wealth. For each mistake, I'm going to give you a clear, actionable solution you can start using today. No judgment, just a roadmap. So if you're ready to trade that financial anxiety for some calm control, let's get into it. Mistake number 1, not having a budget. The first mistake is the most foundational, and it's one that's a surprising. So many high-earning women, we make that mistake. Not having a written budget or any real system for tracking spending. Many of you might avoid it because it feels restrictive, or maybe you're a little afraid of what you'll find. So instead, you operate on financial guesswork. The bills get paid. Some money goes into savings, but that's extra cash that just seems to vanish. This is what I call income leakage. It's the money that gets soaked up by unintentional lifestyle inflation. A slightly nicer car, a few too many impulse buys, death by 1,000 subscriptions that leaves you wondering why you can't get ahead. The solution for not having a budget is to use a simple, shame-free framework. For now, I want you to forget complicated spreadsheets with 50 different categories. The goal here is clarity and not restriction. A powerful and simple model is the 50-30-20 rule. You put 50% of your after-tax income toward needs. Your non-negotiables like housing, utilities, groceries, and minimum debt payments. Then 30% goes to wants. This is your fun money for things like dining out, hobbies, and travel. And finally, and most importantly, 20% goes to your financial goals, which means building savings and aggressively paying down your debt. To start, you don't even have to change anything. Just look at your last 3 months of bank and credit card statements and sort through your spending into 3 buckets. This isn't about judging yourself. It's about gathering data. Once you see where your money is actually going, you create a real plan to plug those leaks and point your money toward the future that you want. Okay, so now, mistake number 2, saving, not investing. So the second major mistake is delaying or avoiding investing. Many women are fantastic savers, but they keep way too much of their money in cash just sitting in low yield savings accounts. So now research shows that women often perceive themselves as more risk averse, which can make us hesitate. That fear might come from feeling like the financial world is just too complex, or from prioritizing everyone else's immediate needs over our own long-term growth. But here's the hard truth. By not investing, you're losing money every single day to inflation. More importantly, you're missing out on the most important wealth building tool there is, and that's compound growth. On average, women live longer than men, which means we need our money to last longer to cover more years of life and higher lifetime healthcare costs. Simply saving isn't going to cut it. You have to make your money work for you. The solution for saving and not investing is to automate and start right now. It is never too late to start investing. The first step is to pay yourself first. treat your investment contributions like a non-negotiable bill. A good goal is to put at least 15% of your income towards your retirement. If your employer offers a 401k match, contribute at least enough to get the full match. That's free money. So now set up automatic contributions so the money moves to your investment accounts on payday before you even have a chance to miss it. If you have an old 401k from a previous job, roll them over into a single IRA to make them easier for you to manage. And finally, change how you think about market dips. Instead of a risk, see them as a sale, a chance to buy assets for cheaper. Starting today, even with a small amount, is a million times better than waiting for the perfect time. Mistake number 3, carrying bad debt without a battle plan. The third mistake is carrying bad debt without a clear, aggressive payoff strategy. Not all debt is the same. Good debt, like a mortgage, helps you build an asset. Bad debt is used for stuff that won't grow in value and usually comes with killer interest rates. Think credit card balances, personal loans, or that high interest car loan. For many women, this debt creeps up slowly. Factors like the gender pay gap, where women still earn less on average than men, can leave less room for error. Without a rock-solid plan to kill it, this debt quietly eats away at your income, draining your power to save and invest for the future. My recommended solution for carrying bad debt without a battle plan is to prioritize pay off to stop the bleeding. Your financial plan needs to double as a debt demolition plan. Using that 50-30-20 rule, that 20% for your financial goals should be aimed like at laser focus at your highest interest debt first. List all of your debts, order them by interest rate, and throw every extra dollar you can find at the one on top while making minimum payments on the rest of them. Also, look for chances to refinance. If you have a car loan with a high interest rate, see if you can get a new loan with a lower one to free up some cash. And most importantly, commit to stopping the flow of new bad debt. This all ties back to your budget. When you align your spending with your income, you don't need to lean on credit cards for anything but a true emergency. And what I want to say here, I'm going to stop here. What I want to say to you is bad debt and good debt is, in my opinion, is a worldly term. But because I am a financial coach and I want to help you win with your money, if we term the debt bad and good, it may help you psychologically to manage your debt better. So the world says good debt is a mortgage. And you may already feel that good debt is having a mortgage, or maybe it is an investment that is going to appreciate over time. But what I want to say to you, good debt and bad debt, that's not in the Bible. That is not in the Word of God, okay? Debt is debt. And regardless if it's good debt, regardless if it's bad debt, you still have to pay it back. And you are still servant to whoever you owe that money to. So I need you to understand that I'm using the term good debt and bad debt because I need you to get it psychologically locked up here to help you to pay it off. So if you look at a bad debt as being bad debt, you know what you're going to do? You're going to pay it off so much faster. And that is your debt that does not have any appreciating value. Okay, your good debt. Yes, I want you to pay that off also. But just make sure that you understand that the Bible does not clarify good debt and bad debt. Debt is debt. And regardless if it's good or bad, you owe that to that lender, and you are servant to that lender until you pay it off. Okay, so focus on getting your bad debt paid off first. After you get your bad debt paid off first, then focus on getting your good debt paid off next. So now we're going to move back into my content, but I need to clarify that for you, okay? Because I am a Bible believing Christian. But I'm willing to give you the psychological habits and the psychological thoughts that you need in order to get on top of your money. So if you're in the process of paying off your debt, get back into our content. If this information is starting to click and you're seeing a path forward, I want to personally invite you to take the next step. Click the link in the description to schedule your one-on-one financial clarity Zoom call with me. And we'll talk about the good debt and the bad debt. It's a chance for us, me and you, to create a tailored plan just for you. So now we're going to get back into our mistakes. I want to pause here for just a moment, because if you're listening right now and money feels heavy, you are not alone. So many women and couples tell me we're paying the bills, but we're still living paycheck to paycheck. We're carrying debt and we don't know which move to make first. If this describes you and you don't need a long-term program or a 3-month commitment, my Clarity Consultation program is designed just for you. This is a focused conversation where we look at your finances, identify what's keeping you stuck, and you walk away with clear, practical action steps you can take right away without it being time-consuming or so overwhelming. If you're ready to stop guessing and start making progress, click the link in the description to learn more. Now let's get back to it. Mistake number 4. The I can do it all myself trap. This next mistake is a trap that I see so many capable, independent, and successful women like you fall into: overcompetence. Because you're so good at managing everything else in your life, you feel like you have to DIY your entire financial world. You might have retirement accounts scattered across old jobs, insurance policies you haven't looked at in years, and no formal will. This DIY approach often leads to decision fatigue. You know you should do something, but all the moving parts are just overwhelming. The irony is that your own self-sufficiency becomes the barrier. You put off talking to a financial advisor because you feel like you should be able to handle it all yourself. This leaves you reacting to financial events instead of proactively building a smart, coordinated plan. My recommendation is that you hire a fiduciary advisor for strategy and not control, because you're in control. Think of a financial advisor not as someone who takes over, but as a project manager for your wealth. You set the vision, they coordinate the execution. It's key to find a fiduciary advisor, which is a fancy way of saying they are legally required to act in your best interest. A good advisor can help you consolidate scattered accounts, check if your insurance is right for you, and get your basic estate plan in order. When you're checking out an advisor, be clear about your goals and ask how they get paid. A lot of women find they click better with female advisors who often bring a more collaborative approach and a deeper understanding of the unique financial hurdles that we women face. This isn't about giving up control. It's about gaining a strategic partner to make sure all the pieces of your financial life are working together. So now let's go into mistake number 5, and that is no long-term roadmap or your self-care. The final mistake is living without a clear long-term roadmap. If you don't have defined goals, there's no real motivation to save or invest. You're just putting money away without a purpose, which makes it feel abstract and easy to ignore. This lack of a clear vision makes all your other money anxieties even worse. This mistake is especially dangerous for you because our financial journey as women is different. We tend to live longer, meaning our retirement funds have to stretch further. We often face healthcare costs over our lifetime. And women are more likely to take career breaks for caregiving, which can hit our lifetime earnings and savings hard. Not planning for this reality is a way of neglecting your future self. Investing in your financial health is self-care. It's about making sure the woman you'll be in 10, 20, or 40 years is secure, supported, and free. I recommend that you build your safety net first, then roadmap your goals. First things first, build a solid emergency fund with 3 to 6 months of essential living expenses. This is your financial safety net, sister. It's the cushion that stops an unexpected bill from turning into a full-blown crisis. Once that's in place, it's time to draw your map. Get out a piece of paper and write down your goals. Split them into short term, 1 to 3 years, like a down payment. Then midterm, 4 to 10 years, like funding a business. And long term, 10 plus years, mostly your retirement. Put a dollar amount and a timeline next to each goal. This simple act turns savings from a vague chore into a motivating mission for you. You're no longer just saving money. You're saving for a life of travel, a debt-free future, and the peace of mind that comes from knowing you are ready for whatever comes next. So now let's recap the 5 quiet mistakes. And I want you to look at your own life and see if any of these mistakes are described in your current financial situation. Okay, so number 1, running on financial guesswork without a budget. Number 2, saving instead of investing. Number 3, carrying bad debt without a battle plan. Number 4, trying to DIY your finances for too long. And 5, not having a long-term roadmap. Now, as you can see, none of these are about personal failures. They are strategic mistakes, and every single one has a clear, doable solution. That feeling of being financially scattered isn't a life sentence. It's just a symptom of a missing system. By using these strategies, you can trade that anxiety for real confidence. You work hard for your money, sister girl. It's time to make it work just as hard for you right now. Start with one of these steps today. The journey to financial freedom doesn't happen overnight because you didn't get to where you are overnight. But it absolutely happens with one intentional decision at a time. I want to say to you, thanks so much for watching. If you found this valuable, please give it a thumbs up and share it with another woman who might need to hear this. Don't forget to subscribe for more tips to help you build wealth with confidence. And let me know in the comments which of these mistakes hits closest home to you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Toodles, girls.